Hello fashion people. So in the course of this video, I'm teaching us how to cut this halter neckline dress, how to attach the neckband, the round neckband, and how to do a proper ball gown just as shown. So we are going to be doing the cutting and the sewing aspects in the course of this video. Please do well to stay tuned. I'll make sure it's as detailed as possible, and this is also going to be an answer to some of the questions I got in my former halter neckline video. Let's dive in. So we're going to be starting with drafting the basic bodice block. So this is my starting point line on both sides. So I'm making this halter neckline ball dress for a baby of 2 years. So to that, I'm going to be marking my neck width and depth. I'm using a neck width of 2.5. So I've marked 2.5 and I'll bring it down 2.5, and the neck depth is also 2.5. So this is going to be my neck width and neck depth measurement, and I'm going to be squaring this out now. So I'll connect my dots together. We are drafting from the front now. This is for the front bodice. So I'm going to be doing my shoulder 11 inches divided by 2. That's giving 5.5 inches. So I'm going to be coming down from my next loop by 1 inch. So I'll bring down my measurement, say the 5.5, and then I'll connect it to the neck width. So now I'm going to be placing my armhole measurements. For the armhole, the chest is 24.5 inches. So that's centimeter measurement for the waist as well. So it's going to be 24.5 inches divided by 6 plus 2 inches. That's to get my armhole, and that is giving 6.08. So approximately, let me just do 6.1. And can leave it at 6 inches. So I'm just going to square this out, and for my shoulder measurement, I'm going to bring it down here to have it in a straight line, which is 5.5. So I'll bring down my 5.5 here, and I will connect my dots. And so this, I'll square this out. Automatically this becomes our chest measurement. So now I'm going to be placing my shoulder to half length. So from the shoulder to half length is 11.5. So I'll place my tape rule and I'll mark out my 11.5 inches, and I'll connect my dots together. So this is my half length and this is my chest line. So 24.5 divided by 4, that is giving me 6.125. So I'll place my 6.125 like this, and that's the measurement for my chest as well, because I want your hard dress has to be free. It's for a kid. If you want it tight, you can just place your chest measurement and your waist measurement, depending. But most babies have a bigger tummy than the chest, so it works perfectly like this. So now I'm going to be marking my armhole. I'm going to find the midpoint, and I'll mark my midpoint like this. I'll fold my tape into 2 so I get the midpoint. So this midpoint, I'll be going in by half of an inch, and then I'll add my seam allowance. It is a seam allowance of 1.5 inches. So this is it. I'll be having a lot of questions. I have a halter neckline video on this channel, but I kept getting a question on, I didn't show like how I attach the halter neckline collar. Like it wasn't obvious, like the sewing part. It wasn't well, like I didn't show the sewing part of it. I just described how to attach it. So I'll be showing you how to sew it, attach it properly in this video. If there's any other video you want me to recreate, let me know in the comment section, and I will try and do justice to that. So now we have our armhole. This is our armhole line. I think this, let me change my marker. It's becoming faint. So now I'm going to go ahead and curve out my neck like this. So this is our neck, and then so do the halter neckline. So this is now our neck area. So I'm going to be marking how wide I want my neckband to be. So for this, I'm using 1.25 for the band. I'm sorry. So for this, I'm using 1.5, 1.25 for the band. I think this one is better. Hope it's more visible. 1.25. So I'll mark 1.25 and I will connect it up like this. This is going to be the width of my neckband. Let me draw this. It's going to be the width of my neckband. So from here, I'm going to square this up. So it has to come down by 2 inches from here. Let me do 1.75. So from there, I'll just connect this straight to the armhole. So this becomes my halter neckline. So we are done. So I'm just going to cut out this. I place my sewing allowances. So from here, I'm going to be adding ½ inch sewing allowance here. I can start to add it straight on my paper. Let me just add the sewing allowance of ½ inch. You can try to cut it out and add it on your fabric while cutting it out on fabric. Let me just add this here. This is just for the half length alone. And then from here, I'll be adding ½ inch. I'm going to be cutting it out this way, and I'll add ½ inch for the collar, ½ inch as well. So this is going to be the center front, and this is going to be on fold for the when cutting the front part of the dress, and then I'm going to be altering this same pattern for the back. So let's cut it out first. So from here, I'm going to add ½ inch to this is the shoulder. Doing at the shoulder is going to be ½ inch there as well, and that is all. The upper part, so I'm going to place this on my fabric and I'm going to be cutting it out. So this is the fabric I'm using. It's an onion color fabric, so I'm going to have to iron it down. So this is a water from my iron, so please try and ignore that. So I'm going to place in my pattern now. This is center front. Here is going to be on fold, and I'm going to go ahead and pin it down. So now this is, I'm going to be adding my sewing allowance of ½ inch around here and at the armhole as well. So this is the center front. God. Please don't forget to indicate your center front on this piece because I almost forgot now. This is my center front here. So here it's meant to be on fold. Please don't forget to indicate that this is the shoulder. So here is the center front. So I just indicated that now. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it out. So just cut. duplicate this for the lining part. I'm going to be using the main fabric for it as well. So this is going to be a duplicate of that. That's for turning it up. So this is it on the facing. So now I'm going to be taking this out so I can make adjustments for the back. Just take on my pins. And likewise this, I'll take out the pins for this one. So I'll just bring this together and set it aside so I can work on the back. Remember, you're going to be cutting the lining piece of this as well. So now, remember our piece is like this. This is how it is. This is center front, but now it's going to become the center back. So it's going to become the center back. So here it's now CB, and I'll be adding 1 inch sewing allowance for this, and also 1 inch sewing allowance for this, because I want my zipper to get to the up. If you don't want the zipper to get to the point up, assuming you're using a button for it, I'm going to be taking out 1/2 inch from just this. Just the center front, the center back of it. You're going to be taking out 1/2 inch if you are using a button, so you can attach your loop here and then your button on the other side. But if I would do the same thing as I'm doing, which is the zipper, the other halter neckline I have on this channel, I'm going to link it in the description box. I used the button for just the upper part and a zipper for the lower part, and the center back had a slit and then with a zipper. So you can check out that video. But for this one, I'm going to be using a zipper all through. So I'm going to add 1 inch for my zipper allowance and 1 inch for my zipper allowance at this center back. And then the alteration we're going to be doing is at the half length because it has a zipper. So avoid zip bulge. You can do this too. So remember, this is our half length. This is where half length stopped, and this is the extra 1/2 inch that we added. So from this 1/2 inch, so you can go up from here by 1 inch. Since I've already added my 1/2 inch sewing allowance to this, so that means if I go from here by 1 inch, I'll still add my sewing allowance. You get? But since I've already added the sewing allowance to the front, I'm just going to automatically be using this line to go up. I mean, if I go up by 1 inch, I still have my sewing allowance of 1/2 inch intact. You get? So I'll go. I went up from here by 1 inch, and then I'm going to be connecting this straight to the tip, just like this. Just like this, and I'll be cutting this out. So automatically I've added my half inch allowance for the half length because I went up from this 1/2 inch upward and not from here upward. So that is the alteration that we're going to do for the back, and every other thing remains the same. So now I'm going to be placing this to cut it out. So I've gone ahead to fold my fabric into two. I folded my fabric into two and I've placed this on top. So now I'm going to, sorry for the background noise. So I'm going to be adding my 1/2 inch round now, just as we did for the front. So I'm going to be, this is the ample area. I'll add my 1/2 inches. So this is the center back, which is 1 inch for my zipper allowance. So I'm going to be adding my 1 inch to it. Please, if you have any questions, do it to drop in the comment section. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. So just go ahead and pin this down. Make sure I have enough 1 inch allowance room for my zipper at that side, and 1/2 inch enough for here as well. So go ahead and pin this down. So I've gone ahead to cut out the lining piece for this. So for the lining piece, I'm using the main fabric as well for the lining of this gown. So I went ahead to cut out for the front and the back. And these are the neckband. That's for the back, and this is add for the front. So now we're going to heading over to the sewing proper. And to sew this, since I'm using my main fabric for the lining, I'm going to be indicating which one is going to be my main fabric, like which one is going to be showing outward and which one I'm going to be using for the lining piece. You get. So I'm going to be using my shock. I'm going to be indicating on one M, which is going to be the main fabric, and the other one is going to be my lining. So that's what I went ahead to do here. So, and I'm going to be opening this up, and I'll be placing right sides facing each other so that we can go over to our sewing machine to start our sewing proper. So when you place the right side facing each other, you're going to be sewing it together at the armhole. Remember, we added half inches for the sewing allowance of our armhole for turning it over to the right side. So I'm going to go ahead and sew that at the armhole by half of an inch. You can decide to also turn your side by half of an inch, or you can leave it that way and use a scissor machine, whichever works for you. So now that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to go head over to the sewing machine to start my sewing. So just as we did for the front, we are going to be doing that same thing for the back. Please remember. So we are going to shift this aside and bring out our back piece. I'll just kindly take out my tape, and then for the back piece, I'm going to also be indicating which one is going to be our main fabric and which one we're going to be using for our lining. If you're using a separate fabric for this, you have no problem doing indicate which one is going to be your main or and your lining piece, because you have a separate kind of fabric for the lining. So I'll go ahead and do that, and I'll open it up, the right side facing me, and then I'm going to be placing the lining piece over it, the right sides facing each other, just as shown. So I'll go ahead and place it for the two back piece, and I'll also mash up the armhole. Remember, I'm not mashing up the neck area, I'm only mashing the armhole. So I'll go ahead and mash the armhole by half of an inch, so able to turn it to the right side. So I was done sewing the side, see the armhole, I turned it with my lining, and I also turned the side by the side I use 0.25 to turn it, and for the armhole it's half inch, just as we do. So that means I'm left with 1.25 for sewing allowance by the side seam, and this is the wrong side. So I sewed, this is for the front, this is the main fabric, and this is the lining part. This is the front and the back, and I did the same thing for the back. So this is the back, see the armhole, see the sides, I sewn the side too, and this is the center back for the zipper allowance. So I'm going to be leaving it this way. You can also turn the center back if you want. I'll just use the scissor machine for the center back when I'm done fixing the zipper. And I repeated the same thing for this other back piece. So these are the two back pieces, and this is the front side. So now I'm going to go ahead and introduce our band, because we need to sew them together. So I'll just keep this aside, and I'll bring my band. This is the front. This is for the front. The front is on fold. So I'm going to be opening this up. This is going to be the main fabric, and then this is going to be the lining piece. So I will just open this up, and I'll be placing them right sides facing each other as shown. So next thing I'm going to turn the neck area by half of an inch. So I'm going to sew this by half of an inch first, or first of all I can decide to, let me do it this way, so I can, this is the main fabric, so I can introduce the back as well. So this is the center back, so I'll try and indicate the center back so not to mix that up. I'll go ahead and indicate this is the center back, so I'll just do a marking here. I'm marking on the center back and not on the shoulder part. So I'll mark this as well, bring it aside, and I'll also mark here. It's going to be for the zipper. deeper area. So I'm going to use this for the lining. So the lining piece is here now, and the main fabric is going to be this one for me. So I'm going to be lining this up like this. You know, the back is meant to come this way, and then this is the right sides now. So I'm going to be joining this on the shoulder first before turning to with my lining. So I'm going to align this, and I'll sew here by half of an inch. By half of an inch. You can decide to gum your paper. Like if I've called this so, I can decide to gum my paper so that I will not have a seam at the shoulder area. Just just example now, this is the shoulder part, and I have a different paper for the back part. I can just attach it here and sellotape it, so I can cut it one piece as the front and back joined together. It's going to be round, but if not, I can still follow the way I'm sewing it. So I'll just sew this up by half of an inch, and I will repeat the same thing for the lining parts. So the next thing, I'm going to go ahead and open this up, but I need to go and press this down first. I can start to trim it out. So let me do the trimming out. I'll trim this out as close as possible. I'm repeating the same thing for this one as well. So I can open this up, right sides facing each other. So I'll place this one too, right sides facing this. So I'm going to match this up, and this is the round neck, and I'll be turning this round neck by half of an inch as well. So I'll just use my pin. Since I've not pressed it, I'll use my pin and hold it down, but try and open it up very well so that even when I iron it, there won't be any folding around the stitched area you get. So I'll just hold it down this way. So this is what I have now. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a notch, or I can trim it out. Also, I'll give it a notch, and after I'll trim it out. So I'll just give it a notch. Well, let me trim it out, but there's no need for it again. So I'll just go ahead and trim it out close to the stitch. But let me top stitch it first, and then I'll complete the trimming. So I'll just top stitch first. So now I'm done top stitching it, and I'm going to complete the trimming out of the excess that I have here. So now I'm just going to go over to my pressing table and I'll press this down. I'll press it down properly. So press it down properly and we'll continue. So I'm going ahead to iron it, and this is how it's looking. So this is the wrong side. I'm going to go ahead and bring the front. Be starting with the front, and I'm going to be using my pin. This is the right side, so I'm going to use my pin and hold it down round. So just make sure you have the midpoint. See the crease line. This is my midpoint. I make sure I line to the middle of this, and I'll just pin it round. So just carefully pin them around. So I'm sewing together with the lining of the main fabric, but for this the lining piece is separate. So just go ahead and keep pinning them down. Just have to be careful with it. It's not, it's curved. It's very curvy, so just have to keep pinning. Even if you want to pin them close to each other, like close to the previous pin, just to get it. Now from this middle point, I've also pinned round to this side as well. So don't stretch your fabric while doing the pinning or while sewing. You just need to work with what you have. It's curvy, yes I know. Just keep tilting it without stretching it. You get? That's just how best I can explain it. So just be tilting it to the sides, and make sure you're not stretching it. You're not pulling any of it, especially if you're working with an elastic fabric. If you're using an elastic crepe fabric for it, or any fabric, just make sure you're not pulling it, like you're not using the elasticity of the fabric. Just carefully work with it. So now I'm done pinning round, so I'm going to go ahead and do my half-inch stitch around it and see how it's looking. So just go ahead and sew it down by half of an inch, and here we continue. As I'm taking my time while sewing it, and just take your time and just make sure you sew it properly. I think if the halter neckline is bad, the whole outfit it will not be giving. That's just my take. So just go ahead and take out. Oh god, here rumpled. See, so I need to loosen it and sew it. There's a fold here. So I've loosened up the. I found out that here there was a fold here, so I've loosened it up. So I'm just going to go ahead and resew. Then I'm going to go ahead and take out the remaining pins. So this is how the right side is looking. So now it is. I'm still going to give it a good press. But this is how it's looking already. So now I'm going to go ahead and pin the back just as we did for the front. I'm just going to the back. This has a zipper at the back, and this one has the zipper. So it's going to start at the same point to get. So it's going to start at the same point like this. I'm just going to match it round just as we did for the front, and I'll sew it down also. Just go ahead and match this up, as you can see, and I'll pin it down. Just it's going to equal this. Like this is the zipper area, so they need to be equal. And then go ahead and take out the lining for the neck collar and sew it up and tack it up like this. Pin it down first and then go ahead and sew it down. So I'm going to sew this on the half inch.
also going to press it down. So this is it. So I'm going to cut this one down and also pin it. Then also. So I'm done. I'm done attaching this too. Although I've not given it a good press, so I just sewed it down. So the next thing is we're going to be covering it up with our lining. So I'm going to start with the side. So the side, I'm just going to fold this first by ½ inch, but our folding is by ½ inch. So I'm going to fold it like this, and then the lining part, I'm also going to fold it in, making sure that they're equal. So I'll fold it this way, and I'll use my pin to hold it down. So make sure they're equal by the side, and then hold it down. And then I'm going to align this side too. You can pause to rewatch what I'm doing. So you can pause to rewatch what I'm doing here. So I'm trying to make sure that the 2 points are equal, like 2 fabrics are equal. And then I'll also go ahead and pin it down. Make sure you're maintaining the curve. No, it's curvy like this. So make sure you're maintaining the curve. So I'm going to be repeating the same thing for the hand. Do the covering. So what I'm going to do, I'll flip this over to the wrong side now, and just like this is the rough part. I'm just going to fold this lining inwards to cover up the rough parts, just like this. Just align it properly. So the trick is, I make sure that the covering, like it covers your stitch, the stitch you run initially for joining the other parts, the right side to the main fabric, to the upper body. So just make sure it covers there, and then with your pin as well, just pin it down. So I'm going to be working with your pin, enough pins here, and then repeat the same thing. So I'm going to go ahead and sew this up. So I'll be turning it over to the right side because I want the stitch to be even. Then I'm going to be running the stitch right close all around and making sure that your hand is straight so that it will turn out neat. So this is it. You're done with the color sewing. This is the right side. So I'm just going to go ahead and give it a good press. So should I give this a good press before doing the folding and tucking and everything? But mine is fine. I'll still go ahead and sew it. So there's no folding as you can see. It's lying down flat even though I've not pressed it. So this is the side. You can see how the back is. So this is the back. And this is the front. So now I'm going to continue with the sewing. So right now I'm going to go ahead and sew up the sides. I still need to go and, first of all, I'll go and press this down. You need to press it down first of all. So I can open it up like this and press it to get the silk shape before we continue. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. It's coming up gradually. So this is 1 inch allowance for the zipper. It's still there. So apart from that, it's neat and beautiful. Okay, so I'm done pressing it. I'm going ahead to press it down, as you can see. So just go ahead and flip this over like this, and I'll be sewing it down by my seam allowance. So I'll just mash it up and I'll sew here. So I've taken out my pin, and this is what the upper part is now looking like. So next thing, we are going to go ahead to cut out for the lower bodies, and we'll be attaching that from our ball gown. It's coming up gradually over to the lower bodies. For the lower parts, I folded my fabric into two. So the full length from the half length is going to be 22 inches. So I'm going to cut the inner first. So I want the inner to be in shortage, which like the two is going to be outward, while this is going to be inside. So this one is going to be of shortage of 2 inches. That means the full length is 22 inches.
like full length with the tool is 22 inches. So I want this to be in shade of 2 inches. That means it's meant to be 20 inches. So plus half inch for joining it to the waist and plus half inch for hemming it, which is 1 inch extra. So 20 plus 1 inches extra is going to give me 21 inches. So I'm going to be cutting out 21 inches. My fabric is on fold because I want it to be full, and then I'm going to be cutting it. I'm going to be cutting it at 21 inches. I hope you understand what I'm saying. So yes, I'm going to just mark 21 inches and I'm going to be cutting through. So for the tool, I folded it into four. I'll say I folded this one, two, and then this one is unfold. I folded it into four and I pinned it down at the end, making sure the points are aligned. And then I'm going to be marking from here. I said 22 inches is going to be the full length from the half length. So 22 inches plus half inch for joining it at the waist. For the full length, there won't be any sewing at the full length. So that making 22.5 inches. So I'm going to be marking that all round. So this is the upper part, and I'm gonna head to weave weave the lower part, and I also weaved the zipper allowance for it to be neat. So I whipped it, and for the long strip of fabric that we cut out, I went ahead to I joined them together, and I weaved the upper part. The lower part I weaved it and I folded it in by half of an inch, as you can see. So, and I also gone ahead to sew a loose stitch here. So and I have to go ahead and pull it and gather it up to the circumference of our lower part here. So I need to gather this to equate this. So for the tool also, I have gone ahead to, so I gathered it, as you can see. I gathered it 2 by 2. This is 2. Then I cut it 4. So this is 2, and I gathered the other sides at the same time. So I'm going to be gathering this and make sure that it equates the circumference of this lower part, and then we'll start attaching the lower bodies to the upper bodies. So I'll just be pulling, this is 2 thread. I'll just pick up one thread and then carefully pull them, be gathering it. That's how to do your gathers. Just carefully do that. So when I'm done gathering this is a two tool. It's two. That's 4 pieces of tool. I'm just going to place them over each other and I'm going to sew them down together. Like I gathered it to be the same circumference with these lower parts. So I'll just sew them together to be the same, to become one piece. Let's go ahead and sew them. So I'm going to be introducing this. This is the right side. This is the right side. So I'll get this and place this tool over it. This is the right side. So I'll place this tool over it and I'll go ahead and sew them together. I'll sew them down together just as we do for the tool. So now we are done with sewing the lower parts. It's now left for us to attach this lower part to the upper bodies. So we just mash it up this way. You can use your pin first and go round before you start sewing. So I'll try and do that, and I'll start sewing down by half of an inch. So I've gone ahead to pin them down. So I pinned it down. So I'm going to be sewing down by half of an inch. So while sewing it, make sure that the tip of your tool is out, like it's out. It's not folded in between. So for this dress, I'm gonna head to attach the zipper at the back, and this is how it's looking. And I've made this petal. So I'm leaving a link how to make this rose design in the description box. So I'm going to be designing this dress. You know, my tool is 4 piece. So I'm just going to pick up two, and I'll gather it up like this to the waist, little bit above the waist, and I'm going to be tacking my petal here. This is going to be the design it's going to be at the end of the day, and I'll go ahead and tack my petal to the bodice just as shown. So I'll go ahead and tack it very well. And then for this upper, these 2 meters, these 2 layers of tulle I have here, so I'm just going to gather it up. It's going to be up here like this, and then it's going to fall just like this. So I'll also tack it up like this. Just carefully do my gathers. So I'll just gather it up like this, and I'll also tack it. So I'll go ahead and cut out my thread, and let's see what we have. This is the final look of the dress. I made another rose for the shoulder. I just tacked it to the shoulder like this. This is a smaller rose, and I just tacked a shame bean just for additional decoration to it. Put the shame bean to it, and this is the big rose that we created, and this is how the ball dress turned out to be. So this is it. And so this is the final look of our ball dress. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, like, comment, and share. And I will see you in my next one. Until then, make sure you stay fabulous. Bye bye.